Welcome to my regular midweek devotion. This week we're going to talk about ways that you and I are being manipulated in a big way and how to recognize it. As I do the fifth, I think it's the fifth in a series that's spread out over a couple of years of informal fallacies, and fallacies were being fed. And the fallacy that I want to share today, often informal fallacies are used to sell merchandise, to get people to do stuff that they may not want to do, or to go along with something that they haven't thought through. But especially the three I want to share today are huge, and they can move entire cultures one direction or another direction. So stick around. And before I do that, I've got to admit there's not much of a nature clip today. I was in Wisconsin one weekend, and then I was in Michigan 2 weekends, and then I got back home, and I know there's spring in the air. You can see it all around you, but there's not a lot of spring in my step today. I've been kind of hanging around the house, not doing a lot lately. To be honest, I've done a little bit of dishes, a little bit of laundry, walk my dogs, and sit down in front of the TV, pretty much with a pocket knife and a stick of wood, kind of whittling. Just for the fun of it, just to relax. I whittled some little people that I took to my grandkids when we went to Michigan, and then I had some leftovers I brought back to the church and gave to the church kids last week. And so I'm switching that up a little bit now, and now I'm starting to whittle some little, I don't know if I can see them in focus, some little raccoons. I don't know if you can see that guy. The first of my three logical fallacies for today is a Latin phrase called ad populum. It literally means to the crowds, or you might say to the populace. And the idea behind it is that we as people, we don't like to stick out like a sore thumb all by ourselves when all the crowd's going another way. So if the majority of the crowd is going some direction, we either will jump on board and go with that, or we will remain silent and just let it go by, or a few brave souls will buck the crowd, go their own way, and pay the price. So if you want to move a society, or you want to move a group of people, or you want to get your way in a certain area, even if it may not be logical, get the populace, get the crowd to go your direction. Now, we all know that. We call it a herd mentality. Going with the flow, or going with the crowd. And there's a price to pay for not doing it. My second fallacy for the day is equivocation. Equivocation is basically taking a word and changing the definition of it so that two parties in a disagreement may use the same words but mean different things by those words. Now, as long as that's happening, honest conversation can't take place. And a meeting of the minds can't take place as long as that is happening. Now, a lot of times it might be an accident, but a lot of times it could be on purpose. Think how often you're corrected by the language you use when the words have changed over the years and you don't even know they've changed. For instance, hate language. It used to be termed something, at least when I was a kid growing up in my neighborhood, it was language that was derogatory. It was something that incited hate. It was something that came from a bad attitude or a preconceived view of someone else. But now you can be guilty of hate language without even knowing you're doing it and without feeling anything, because the term that we used to use as hate is no longer the term how we use it all the time. Now it could be something that you do accidentally, something that you are just misinformed about, something that you could be racist without knowing you're racist or without having any negative feelings toward anyone, because you simply are not aware of how language is interpreted or accepted today. And until you can understand terms the way someone else understands terms, the two of you can't be on the same wavelength. Now, there's an old saying that goes something like this: they who control the language control the narrative, and they who control the narrative control the culture. It's not necessarily just a missing meeting of the minds where the two of you aren't speaking the same language. You can look around you, and sometimes language is intentionally changed to sway a person to one point of view or another point of view, or to cast aspersions on a different point of view. And sometimes the changing of the definitions like that and insisting that your definitions be used rather than their definitions tilts the argument and gives the person an enormous power and locks the person out that it's not understanding and using the terms the same way. Logical fallacy number 3. Loaded language. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, and the words perhaps are more powerful than weapons sometimes, or maybe the most powerful weapon is the word. And sometimes the inflections of our voice and the way we say something and the adjectives we use to describe something are loaded, and even if we are telling the truth, we are still manipulating. An example: just before I came out here to the park to record this devotion, I turned on the TV on YouTube and looked at some of the news for the day, for this morning. And I found one particular item of news, which this is not important, it could be any item, but I picked one particular point of view, and I went on YouTube and looked up a very conservative channel, YouTube channel. And I looked at a very progressive or liberal YouTube channel. And both channels reported the exact same facts and the exact same figures and the exact same event, but it sounded totally different because both of them used loaded language, powerful language, to sway the audience to their point of view. It's a form of manipulation. So what can you do about it? Well, the first thing you can do about it is realize when you're being manipulated. It's not just innocence, and it's not just that you don't understand everything or you're behind the curve or backward. Realize when you are being manipulated. And the second thing is, as Christians, don't be a part of this. I mean, I hear a lot of Christians that use loaded language and change the definitions of words and try to get together with their clan that they're close to so that they reinforce their views and have a bulk behind them. Be honest in your speech, in your communication. I mean, there's more to dishonesty than just telling lies. You can say everything truthful and still be dishonest, still be manipulative. And there's no place for that in our faith. That being said, I'm done for the day. It's a beautiful spring day. The weather is changing so much. It's just a great time to be out. And I'm starting to feel the energy of the sun, even though I started with kind of a little bit sleepy. I said there was no spring in my step. Well, I'm starting to get it. It's halfway through the week. I'm looking forward to our opportunity to worship together again this coming weekend. Until then, may God bless you, and may God keep you honest.